Alright, so we're going to talk about calculating school grades. It's the middle of June, end of June. Scores are about ready to come out, and so we, as a state, the state calculates the school grades, and it gives us a metric of where we are compared to all the schools in the state. So today we're going to talk about how to calculate school grades and what it means to us. So why do we have school grades? Well, it's an easy to understand. Everybody knows the A, B, C, D, E. There's A, B, C, D, and F of grading for assignments. So what the state does is puts a school grade on each school that's within a public school system and a charter school system. It's an easy way for people to understand. Everybody sees that. And for parents to understand how to rate a school versus another school. Unfortunately, it doesn't get to what the heart of a school actually is. It just gives it numbers based on data and student performance. So school grades are comprised of up to 11 components. In the elementary setting, it has less components than in a high school setting. There are 4 components for achievement. So that means scoring a level 3 or better. So there's components for achievement in English language arts, mathematics, science, and social studies. There's 4 components for learning gains, which are English language arts, mathematics learning gains for the bottom 25, and learning gains for the bottom 25 in ELA and bottom 25 for mathematics. So that's the 4 learning gains components. In high school, they do graduation as a component. Accelerated success is for middle schools that offer like algebra and industry certification in middle school, so they can get points for that. And the maintaining a focus on students who need achievement, that's that bottom 25% and providing alternatives for them. Each component is comprised of 100 points, which is actually a percentage. So what you do is you take the percentage and turn it into points, and we'll get to that, the actual how to calculate the grade. So in order to get an A, you have to have 62% of the points or higher. So once you calculate, you add it and divide it. If you're above 62%, then you get an A. If you're 54 to 61%, it's a B. A C is 41 to 53. A D is 32 to 40. And an F is for 31% or less. So that's a combined score percentage of all the points that you have. That's how you receive the grade. So last year for our school with Tropical Isles, we only had 328 points out of a possible full 600 points, about, well, a little bit less than 600 points, so that's why we got a C after we calculated all of the points possible. The next component, besides achievement, so achievement is the first component, which is anybody that scores a level 3 or above in reading, math, or science for elementary. The next component is learning gains. Learning gains is measured from growth from one school year to the next school year. Level 1 and level 2 have different breakdowns of components. So what they did for level 1 and level 2 is they said, okay, level 1 is from here to here, and they divided it by 3, and that's how they got the 3 breakdowns for 1A, 1B, 1C. Same thing with level 2. Level 2 is from here to here, they divided it by 2, 1, 2A, 2B. The rationale behind that is that you're supposed to make a year's growth, as 1 year's growth every school year. So by the time you leave from 3rd grade to 5th grade, you should be proficient. Although they want it to be that if they were calculating from kindergarten to 3rd grade, you should be proficient by the time you get 3rd grade if you start at level 1A in kindergarten and then level 1B in 1st grade. So basically you have time to get out of the level 2s and be proficient by the time you leave a school, is what their rationale is behind that. So level 3 and level 4 students, in order to make a learning gain, they have to increase in scale score. So if you're a level 3 1 year and you scored 350 points and you're a level 3 this year, you have to score 351 points in order to make a gain. You can't score less in scale score points. Now, it's almost I won't say it's almost impossible, but it is possible that you can score less in scale score and still be a level 3 and not make a gain. Because what happens is your scale score from 3rd grade to 4th grade, it increases the amount. So in 3rd grade, the threshold might be 300 to 350. In 4th grade, it'll be 349 to 400. So there's a little bit of overlap, but it's almost impossible to be in that overlap. Last year we had 2 students, I believe, that stayed in level 3 and didn't make a gain because they didn't go up in the scale score. In level 5, they just have to maintain a scale score. So even if they were a high 5 and they drop points and they're still a 5, they still count as a learning gain. So those are all the points for learning gains. Same thing in calculating for the bottom 25. So the bottom 25, they take all the kids that we had that took the test last year, and then we counted out, we did 25% of them, and those are the kids that we're going to look at specifically that were labeled on the bottom 25 from the beginning of the school year last year, and we're going to calculate learning gains based on those. Bottom 25 for 4th grade actually includes 3rd grade students because their test scores were included in the 4th grade student test scores includes the 3rd grade retainees. So all the students that took the 3rd grade FSA last year is going to count for learning gains for 4th grade, even the retainees. So they are included in that calculation. But math is a little bit different. Same, you don't necessarily have to be a retainee to get a learning gain in math. So, but to be a bottom 25 in math. So all the retainees that are in 3rd grade are not necessarily bottom 25 for math, but they are bottom 25 for reading because they scored a level 1 or lower, or level, they didn't pass 3rd grade. So it's possible that we have retainees that scored a level 1 in reading, but scored a level 3 in math, so they're not a bottom 25 for math, but they are for reading. Lots of pieces moving together. All right, so then what they do is they take all the components, and this is how they calculate the grade. So in order to calculate the grade, you're going to need the previous year score, the current year score for English language arts, math, and for English language arts and math. Science is totally achievement only. There's no learning gains in science. It's either you scored a 3 or better or not. If you don't score a 3 or better, you don't count towards the school grade. So last year we had, I think, 54% of our students were proficient in science, so we got basically 54 points. 54% of whatever, however many students took the test. So what happens is they take the percentage that you get for completing that. So whoever took the test, divided by however many students took the test, whoever was proficient, divided by the total number of students that took the test, gives you a percentage, or it gives you a decimal that you turn into a percent, and that decimal turns into the number of points. So you have, basically, so for our school, we have achievement in ELA, math, science. Learning gains in ELA and math. So that's 5 components right there. Then achievement in science. So that's our 6 components. So basically when we divide out however many points that we get, we're dividing it by 600. And the 600 will give us our percentage, which goes back to that chart with however many percent for A, how many percent for B, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's how that's calculated. So when you sum up all of it, you figure out where your school stands. Now the who is also important. If they don't have, like as far as ESOL and ELL students, they need to have 2 years of scores in order to count towards achievement. There is a chart that you could use the WIDA score, and they can convert a WIDA score into an achievement score, and it's a whole mathematical process that you could use to count that towards achievement. And then students have to be here for a whole school year. A full school year is from FTE, the first one in October, and that's FTE survey 2 is in October, and survey 3 is in March. February, the beginning of February. So you have to be here for both counts to be considered for the whole school year. And then you have to, but in order to calculate your total number of students tested, you can be counted in your total count because 95% of the school has to be tested. And you can be counted in that total count if you are here 1 month before you attend the school. So if we have a student that comes in, let's say they came in, but it has to be for the ELA, they have to be 1 month before the writing portion, and for the math, it has to be 1 month before the math portion. So if you have a student that comes in, if we test during March, if they come in February, they can count for math, but not for ELA if they're not here for the writing portion. So a person can count for a total of our 95% testing for one subject and not the other subject. So it's all considered like who's here, and they try to be fair, but you can't account for everything. And there's also learning gains for students who are on alternative assessment. Alternative assessment students, the ESC students that are on alternative assessment, they have learning gains as well. So they compare their last year's alternative assessment to this year's alternative assessment to determine if they count as learning gain for our school or not. That's it. Any questions? It's okay if there are.
Our retainees, do they get more points for making a learning gain versus another student who's not a retainee?
Yes, because only in 3rd grade, they do, because they get points for, if they make it to proficient the second time, they get a point for that. Or if they make a learning gain, they get a point for that. If they make it to proficient, they get a point for that. And they get a point because they are bottom 25. So we have a student that was a retainee last year that scored a level 4. He gets 3 points for us for being proficient, making a gain, and being the bottom 25. That's 3 points for one student.
You had mentioned science as an achievement. Is that like bonus points towards
No.
the grade, or that's just another?
It's calculated. It's calculated within the grade. It's like
So it's one of the components.
it's one of the components. So, and that's the same thing for science for 5th grade, and the EOC for civics, and the science in 8th grade in middle school. Those are just calculated as, it's an extra 100 points. Yeah.
I heard, is it true if the student doesn't take the writing test, then they're not allowed to take the ELA test?
Not that they're not allowed to take the ELA test, it's a possibility that that they won't get a score. Because if you get a 0 on the writing portion, then it won't average it in the score.